The soft burble of the television threatened to lull her to sleep, and Kate forced her eyes open. She twirled the end of her messy blonde plait around her finger and tried to find the will to get off the sofa. "Have I got news for you?" had just finished. There was nothing on for half an hour, and if she didn't take the rubbish out before housemate got back, there'd be hell to pay. Neither of them could be bothered to get up early on a Monday morning after a weekend of shifts at the club, so Friday night was her opportunity to shove the wheelie bin out front. Kate knew they'd get poisonous looks from her lemon-sucking neighbour for leaving it out all weekend, but she was also the woman who'd complained about their barbecue last month. Kate had no qualms about ruffling her feathers. With Herculean effort, Kate prized herself off the faux leather couch and stumbled towards the back door. Opening it let in a sharp draught of October air, and she drew back her hands into her hoodie sleeves, teeth already chattering. The outside light flickered to life, blinding her after the dim, dingy student living room. She'd add that to her tale of woe for her housemate later. With one hand, she stuffed the kitchen waste into the overflowing black bin, while the other rummaged among the detritus on the windowsill for the gate key. She eventually found it among the cocktail umbrellas, and waving her hands to get the outside light on, she twisted the key against ancient rust to wrangle the lock open. She shut the back door, but didn't bother with the lock. It would only be 2 minutes. What could happen in 2 minutes? Pushing the bin like a man with a pram, Kate manoeuvred the thing through the gate, wincing at something sticky between her palm and the handle. The light clicked off behind her, and she spent a minute or 3 trying to fit the wheelie bin round a corner too slim for it. Finally it budged, and she shoved it down the narrow alleyway to the street. She wedged the bin against the windowsill, ignoring the twitching curtains. As long as the foxes didn't get at it, she didn't see the big deal. It was November, and the bin was more like to freeze shut than raise a stench. Kate looked back down the alley. With the streetlights behind her, it looked ominous. High walls overshadowed the tiny walkway, with no light at the end to guide her through. The anemic moonlight played off the ivy curtains, casting shadows that looked like men, leafy green monsters. Kate scowled. It was stupid to be afraid. She'd only just walked down it. There was nothing there. Was there? She crept down the alley, the darkness pressing in on her. The ivy monsters formed an honor guard as she passed, ready to end her with a branched bayonet, the slightest misstep. She was certain there were eyes on her, watching her, following her every move. Could she hear footsteps? Kate turned, twisting round to stare back at the road. Nothing. She took a deep breath, pulled herself together, and hurried down the rest of the alley. Reaching her gate, she stopped on the threshold. The outside light was on. Suddenly, the feeling of being watched returned. She was sure the light had been off when she left. How could it be on now? What movement in the shadows had triggered it again? Kate was acutely aware that she had left the door unlocked. Anyone could be inside her house. "God, you're ridiculous," she told herself, and marched through the gate, slamming it shut behind her and snapping closed the lock. She walked determinedly towards the back door. It must have been a cat or a mouse. How many times had it come on for no good reason? They should get the landlord to look at it. Closing the back door behind her, Kate locked it and dropped the key on the windowsill. Then she turned to confront the house. The kitchen was a state, overflowing with dishes, but empty of intruders, and she could see all the way through the dining area into the living room. There was nowhere a man could hide. Kate breathed a guilty sigh of relief and returned to her spot on the sofa, but she didn't feel like TV anymore. She had to haul herself to the library in the morning. She'd have to take a bus if it was raining. Of course, it was always bloody raining, but she'd moved to Wales. What else could she expect? She turned off the lights, set the box to record Dr. Quinn, medicine woman. Naomi loved that retro nonsense. And made sure the deadlock was off, so Naomi could actually get in after her shift. Having a housemate howl down the door at 3 a.m. did nothing for their relationship with the neighbours. The house slipped into its midnight state, the faint strains of Maroon 5 coming through one wall, accompanied by the rhythmic banging of headboard against plaster. Kate yawned, plodding up the stairs and straight into the bathroom. From the vantage point of the cracked toilet seat, she stared at the shower curtain. Naomi always pulled it across. To let it dry, she said, something about mould, and Kate hated it there. For a start, it was an ugly curtain, all mutant fish and kids' bath time phrases on deep plastic blue. And secondly, it would make a great hiding place. Shaking her head, Kate went to wash her hands in the sink, letting the water warm her hands and calm her nerves. It was just that bloody cat outside. That was all. She looked at her face in the mirror, picking at her blemishes. Then, out of the corner of her eye, she realised the shower curtain was drawn back.